Good morning, everybody. Welcome to EXSIN Live. As you can see, Phil is not with me. He's under the weather. So we've got him at home getting better and healthy. Not exciting stuff. But hey, today we're going to talk about some stuff that's really important. It's one of those things we see working with businesses. If your personal life is a challenge and you're struggling, it takes away from your ability to work your business and be good at your business because you're focused on things at home. Trust me, man, we've all been there. Life is hard. If you have kids and you're married, it is tough. It is tough out there. But what I'm going to tell you is you've got to balance your life in all those areas to have a balanced life, to get what you want, to be truly happy, to not be miserable, to improve your relationship at home with your spouse, to improve your happiness and your contentness in the world. And most importantly, to be successful in what you want to be successful in and be passionate. You got to do it. It's just one of those things. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a program that we are coaches for. We're going to talk about it. You can use whatever program you want, but I want to give you a baseline to help you go through it and give you some things to think about today in your life to get it balanced in the first month of 2022 so we can accelerate into this year and kick it right in the backside. So you guys ready? I'm going to share some slides just like last week and then go over some stuff. So stand by while we pull the slides up. All right. You and I and everyone we love is trying to find a life of less stress, more balance, and greater purpose. What you will learn today is about a lifestyle that is all of that and more. It's called the ULA Life. We want better connections with family, friends, better health, and more vitality. More money at the end of the month and financial security for our future. We want to go to a job that we truly love. We want to have fun. We want to live a life filled with purpose, but most of us don't. We get swallowed up in all of the nonsense in the unbalanced world around us and find ourselves the opposite of the ULA life. We find ourselves stressed, out of balance, and with little to no direction. I found out about ULA through a friend. We met for lunch with Dr. Dave and his father and just kind of had a conversation. He told me the story of his life and the struggles he had and the challenges he saw in his life. And I went, holy cow. This guy was at rock bottom and climbed out of the hole and changed his world. And now he's helping people do that with a pretty simple process. I'm pretty interested. So when I found out and I learned more about it, I became a certified ULA life coach and an ambassador. So today we're going to talk about the process of ULA, what it means, and help you find the life you dream of and deserve, the ULA life. The reality is that most of us have gone through ups and downs and everywhere. We look to see evidence of the unbalanced world. Everywhere we look, we see the evidence of the unbalanced world. You might see it in the paper, on the news, or social media. If you're watching the news media, you are seeing it every single day. You may have friends you're arguing with on Facebook, but I don't think we realize how much those negative things in all areas of our life affect us and the next generation. Let's talk about some stats. 1 in 3. 1 in 3 people. Let me ask you a question. Let's make it simpler. Do you know what 1 in 3 represents? When we dig into health and fitness, we realize that there's more fast food at every corner, and we are becoming less and less active. We have moved from eating whole foods around a dinner table to eating processed foods in our car on the way home. We have moved from walking and moving throughout towns and villages just a couple of generations ago to sitting in cars, sitting at desks on webinars, sitting and listening to stuff on YouTube, sitting on the sofa watching our favorite show on Netflix or Yellowstone or whatever it is, and we're doing nothing. 1 in 3 statistic represents that 1 in 3 Americans are clinically obese. And the real problem is that it's now affecting our kids. The rate of childhood diabetes is through the roof. Does anyone know what 7 in 10 represents? Okay, this is crazy. This is crazy. I want you to think about this. 7 in 10 out of us have less than $1,000 saved for an emergency. That means if anything happens, the air conditioner goes out, you get a flat tire, your back car won't start, you have a medical emergency, you don't have the money to fix it. 7 out of 10 of us will have to go into debt to pay for it. Speaking of debt, consumer debt is an all-time high and student loan debt has topped over $1 trillion. This is a statistic that you may have heard of many times. 53% of marriages end in divorce. 53%. But what that doesn't reflect are the marriages holding on by a thread, the toxic family relationships, and all the other fun that goes into dysfunction. "55 to 70% of you hate your job. You hate it." Just look at the last two slides. 53% of the people, marriages end in divorce, and 55 to 70% of us hate our jobs. This means that over half of us sit in traffic to get to a job we hate. Then we sit in traffic and to come home to a spouse we can't stand. And we do it over and over. And we call that a life? That's definitely not an ULA life. Faith has been removed from everything. Everything. Cancel culture is killing faith. I completely believe that your faith is your faith, and we should respect and love each other's views or of a higher purpose. But why has your faith become not PC? Why can't we live in a world where all faiths love and respect each other? Love and respect each other's opinions. It's because the world has become unbalanced. We've picked sides. We're fighting with each other. We can't get along. This statistic blows my mind. Have you ever heard, most likely from a grandparent, that you are who you hang out with? Well, even though we have heard it, 8 out of 10 of us still endure toxic friendships. In this class, we're going to teach you and talk about the powerful ULA principle of unfollow, unfriend, and delete. If people are causing pain in your life, move on. At ULA, we believe that at the end of your days, you should look back at your life with fond memories that include a long list of epic adventures, dinner table giggles, meaningful moments, and a legacy of purpose and meaning. Yet most of us won't. We'll be taking our last breath, wishing that we would have worked less, taken that trip, climbed that mountain, or said, "I love you" more often. Don't let this be you. Live in amazingness. Live a life of ULA. I can assure you, when you're sitting next to your mother or father or child on their deathbed, you are going to regret every step you didn't take. You're going to regret every risk you didn't take. You're going to regret everything you didn't do that you thought you should. Go do it. Go live the life you truly want to live. So Dr. Troy and Dr. Tave have said it best. ULA is a solution to the unbalanced world. It's a life based on a book called the ULA Life. It's a state of awesomeness where your life is balanced. I want you to think about this. You go to the circus, you see the guy with the plates twirling 7 plates. And if he doesn't keep moving around, keeping his life balanced, his plates balanced, one falls and crashes. You're in the same boat. There are areas of your life that are killing it. There's areas of your life that you're epically failing. I've been there. I have been there. I have let certain areas of my life go to hell in a handbasket and literally almost failed. ULA has become a global movement. And ULA was started by these two guys, Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy. That in the slide there is what they call the ULA bus, which we'll talk about more shortly. The ULA guys are the most positive people you're going to meet, and they have a great, simple process for us all to follow to get better at life. Here's the thing. We have to stop judging and we have to focus on ourselves. One of the greatest lessons Dr. Troy and Dr. Dave teach from the stage is a lesson called You Be You. And it means exactly what it says. We all had amazing dreams and even crazy dreams growing up. You know, some of us dreamed of being pilots like me. Some of us dreamed of having multi-million businesses. Some of us dreamed of being adventurers and traveling the world. But somewhere along the way, we lost those dreams. A teacher, a preacher, mother, father, sister, or brother told us that what we wanted was stupid. We weren't good enough, smart enough, good looking enough. And we believed them. Then you started to become an adult and you started to plan and live your life based on these limiting beliefs. You built a life inside a box surrounded by walls you put up in your mind. Today, we're going to talk about how to tear those walls down, breaking through what is holding us back, and start to rebuild a life we're designed to have. Some of you know that you need a major overhaul, and some of you just need little tweaks to have a better life, and ULA life. So let's start with the real quick, simple steps. Getting your ULA life is simple, but it isn't always easy. Some days will be hard, but it's always worth it. Dr. Torrey developed these 3 simple steps to ULA Life. And let's start with step 1. Have you ever been in a new city and had to drive somewhere and had no clue how to get there? Back in the day, we used to have to pull out a large map, like a paper map, turn 3 times to find which way is up, and then you finally got to your destination. You had to figure it out to miraculously fold the thing back up. Thankfully, nowadays, it's quite different. You simply grab your smartphone, type in the destination, but before that, your phone does something really interesting. And you may have missed it all these years. Your smartphone automatically locates where you are. And that's the first step that you need to do in order to change any aspect of your life. Know where you are today. You need to know where you are in the 7 areas of your life. I think we've all seen this. This is the ULA Wheel. There's life wheels. There's a lot of these out there that personal development coaches use. This is the ULA Wheel. And step 1 is simple. You grade where you are on a wheel. Basically, you're going to look at the 7 areas of your life, take 10 questions in each area, and you're going to grade yourself out where you are in each area. The key to this is when you map that, your wheel is no longer round. You have developed some flat spots on your wheel or some indentions. And the key to this is knowing where your challenges are and where you need to focus your energy first, right? We always say something in the military and in business, fix what's going to kill you first. So your lowest level on your ULA wheel is what's going to kill you first, hurt you first, make your life miserable first. So you fix that first. Once you complete the ULA wheel, you will know exactly where you are in life and have a good idea about where your stress or lack of purpose may be coming from. Step 2 is deciding where you want to go in the 7 areas of life. In this step, we're going to take a little time to plan our ULA life by going through each F of ULA and thinking about a dream or a goal, and then committing it to memory, writing it down or putting it in your smartphone. What I'm going to tell you is going to drive you to the one big thing you need to do in the next year to get your life where you want to be. And it's going to give you simple daily steps to get there. So let's talk about the first F in ULA, and that's fitness. Everything health and wellness in your life, primarily referencing how to use your body and what you put in your body. I think all of us can, I can admit this, I won't talk for you. I find myself sometimes eating things I shouldn't be eating. I find myself being lazy when I shouldn't be lazy. You know, I have the workout cycle everybody has. And as I've gotten older, it's gotten less exciting to work out like when I was younger. I'm going to tell you, you have to keep moving. You have to do something to your body. And if you, General Brady said this in a meeting once, it's true. If you feel like you look fat in your clothes, it's because you're fat. If you feel like you're uncomfortable in your life, it's because you're uncomfortable. The only way to change that is change your daily habits and what you do. One simple, small incremental change can change that for you. ULA Finance. This is all things in finance in your life. I'm going to tell you, managing money is hard when you're trying to keep up with your neighbor. I live in a town where everybody drives a Range Rover. And most of those people are in debt up to their ears. And Matt, I appreciate that. Do you need a hug? I miss you. You're going to feel good. You know that. The next thing we got to focus on this. Thanks, Matt, for showing up. The next thing we got to focus on is your family. Now, I am blessed to have a family that I truly love and enjoy being around. I have 2 kids and a wife, and they're great. We are very much a family unit. We very much focus on each other. But one of the things that we do with our family every day we can is have a meal together. We eat at home a lot. And I would say if you want to improve your family life, you want to improve the relationship with your wife or your spouse, I would offer to you to sit down at home and share time in the kitchen, share chores in the house, do things that are mutually respectful to both of you, because that will gain you huge, huge love and respect from your spouse. ULA Field, if you're in a job you hate, you're not going to make it. I'm just telling you, that's how it is. If you hate your boss and you hate your job, you're going to be miserable, and you've got to fix that. The next thing we're talking about real quick is ULA Faith. I don't care what you believe in. You need to believe in a higher purpose. You need to believe in something. There is something out there that's bigger than all of us. I will gladly say this out loud. My faith is one of the things that's got me through my entire life. My belief system is one of the things that has protected me when things have gone wrong and refocused my compass when I've gotten off balance in my life. I can tell you the times of stress and fear and anger and worry and concern that I always step back to our faith. You know, if you want to live a greater life, realize that you do have a higher purpose, and that's the biggest part of changing your life. ULA friends, man, life is no fun if you don't have friends. And I'm going to share a story. I have one friend that I want to talk about, and he lives in Florida now, but he and I have known each other since we were little kids. But Woody is the kind of guy that brings us all back together. I'm very bad at keeping in touch. That's not how I'm wired. But Woody is that guy. And every Christmas, every birthday, every Thanksgiving, you know, we get a text from Woody bringing us all back together, and we share stories for an hour. And I promise you, every time we do that, my heart is full of joy. So if you don't have friends like that in your life, then you need to find them. You need to find those people you can hang out with or you can relate to that bring you that joy and remind you of the fun things to do, which brings us to next. Life is not all business. You've got to have some fun. Figure out what makes you happy and go do it. And it's not sitting in front of the TV. If it's hiking, if it's going to plays, if it's cooking, if it's playing a guitar, if it's working out, whatever it is you do for fun, find a group and do it together, right? Because that's going to bring you passion, bring you more balance in your life to move forward. All right, so here we go. This is my favorite part. The next thing is you got to decide one thing because you know what your goals and dreams are in the 7 key areas of life, and you got to pick one dream that will truly change your world. I call it the big domino. And the reason I call it the big domino is if you've ever played dominoes, or you've ever stacked dominoes and knocked one over to watch the rest fall, you understand that first one is the hardest one. Once you knock it over, everything else falls into place. Just realize that this one big domino, this particular dream, is not always the easy one, but it's the most important one. And there's a good possibility that you haven't even written it down yet, or you're afraid to write it down because you don't think you'll get there. If it scares you, it's the right one. If it scares the hell out of you, then it's probably the one you need to go do. Because if you don't try it, you're never going to get there. And if you try it and don't get it, it's okay because you tried. So we talked about the big city. So we're going to go back now. We're to step 3. You need to find your location, and step 3 fits in perfectly with what the GPS, with your maps say on your phone. It locates where you are, it tells you where to go, and then it tells you how to get there. It would be amazing if we had an app to tell us exactly what we need to do. But like I said, it's simple, but not easy. And this is where you need to put in the work. Now, what I will say, the ULA guys, and you don't have to be an ULA fan to get a life coach to do that, but the ULA guys have developed an app for you. And it's amazing. And it's $44 a month. So if you're interested in that, talk to me later. I just want to tell you that there is an app that walks you through this process. It's on your smartphone and helps you get there. I use it. I love it. Here's how you make sure you take the steps. And I love this. And they do a thing called Skittles and Oranges if you go through their training. And it's very interesting. They have two jars. They have one jar, and they have a bunch of oranges and a bunch of Skittles. And the Skittles represent the meaningless task you do every day in your life to fill time. Taking the laundry to the laundry, washing dishes, hanging out, doing nothing. The little tasks you do throughout the day. The oranges represent the big things you need to do to get your life from A to B, okay? And what they do is they fill the jar with Skittles, little meaningless task, and then try to fit the oranges in. Well, guess what? The oranges don't fit in the jar. But next, they dump the jar out, and they put the oranges in first. They do the big things first. And then they take all the little tasks, the Skittles are poured on there, and the jar fills up, and there's room left for more. I think the greatest part of this 3 action steps and following this card or the app, if you want to use that, is that it shows you what you need to focus on every day, the big nuggets you need to get done to move your life forward. That's ULA. It's defining where you are today in the 7 F's, determining what your one big thing is, and then mapping out the things you need to do to get to your goal. And here's the key. Every year we get the Brandon Bouchard book, or we get the Tony Robbins book, or we sign up for ULA, and we don't do anything about it. If you want to make a difference in your life, take small incremental steps that are manageable. Don't try to lose 50 pounds in January. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Don't try to grow your business 300% in January. It's not going to happen. Make smart, logical decisions to reach reasonable, big dominoes at the end of the year. And reasonable is not really the right word for your end of your goal. Ridiculously crazy goals. Man on the moon goals. You guys can do this. And I'm going to tell you this, once your personal life is balanced, once your 7 F's are balanced, everything else falls in place. Because what have you done? You focus on what's important. You've gotten rid of toxic relationships, so you're happy all the time. You're not doing things that hurt you, and you're healthy. It's that simple. It's that simple. So, Dave Evans at EXSIN, this edition of EXSIN Live, and we are out of here. Phil, get well. We missed you, brother.